Good afternoon. This is the City of Lamarque City Council Special Meeting, November 1st, 2021. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Lamarque, Texas, will conduct a special meeting on November 1st, 2021, beginning at 5 p.m. in council chambers located at 1109B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas, as well as via video conference hosted through Zoom. In accordance with section 551.127B of the Texas Government Code, a quorum of the City of Lamarque, City Council, and the mayor intend to be at and will physically be present at 1109B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas. This location will be open to the public and the meeting will be broadcast at this location and via YouTube. The council will meet for the purpose of considering the following agenda. The meeting has been called to order. Robin, would you give us a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember District A.
Present.
Councilmember District B.
Present.
Councilmember District C.
Present.
And Ms. McCall, Councilmember District D, has already said she would not be here. Right?
She did say that she would not be here. Certainly, she's out of town and we wish her well on her journey. Thank you. Let's move to item 3, invocation and pledge. Councilwoman Yancey, would you lead us in the invocation? And Councilmember Carlson, would you lead us in the pledge?
Father, we come to you on tonight, God, asking you for forgiveness. We ask you that you will hear our prayers, God, on this day. We come praying for our city. We pray for our staff. We pray for our leaders. We pray for our citizens, God. We pray for direction. We ask for forgiveness and we ask for wisdom. Lord, you see all and you know all. And we ask that your sovereign hand deal with it all. We pray now that you give us our city peace, love, joy, and happiness. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Item number 4, citizens participation. Citizens participation limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public will be heard at this time. Any person with city-related business who is signed up may speak to council on a specific agenda item, limited to 3 minutes. You should give the mayor your name and the item you wish to speak about. Compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. If you're joining us via phone, you may press *6 to mute or unmute your phone. If you're wishing to speak, if you're joining us via smartphone, tablet, or computer, there should be a microphone icon at the lower portion of your screen that you may press in order to speak and mute yourself. Again, if you are speaking, please give your name, your address, and the item you're wishing to speak about. Kyle, are there any persons online wishing to speak at this time? Ms. Washington.
No, sir. I'm just here to observe tonight. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Let's see. Mr. Loftus.
No, I'm just listening in.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Are there any persons in our audience today wishing to speak? Any persons in our audience today wishing to speak? One more time. Any persons in our audience today wishing to speak? Very good. Very good. Council, we have several items on our agenda today. So I seek your guidance as to how you want to do the people's business. We can go down to executive session if you all like, and have that portion of our meeting and then come out and deal with the people's business in public session, or we can go through the agenda items as they have been listed. What is your pleasure?
I'd like to stick with as it's written, sir.
Okay. Kim?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Joe?
No, I'm fine.
You fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Item 5A, discussion possible action regarding appointing an interim city manager. Certainly, this has been placed on the agenda by myself because it is my duty to make sure that we are having a city manager in place when Mr. Carey moves on to Dickinson. And so, Mr. Carey, before this council takes any action, I know that you had some things that you would like to share with not only the community,
Yes, sir.
but you had some things that you'd like to share about perhaps possible recommendations to fill your role.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Council. So as many know by now, I will be leaving the city of Marque after 9 years. I've accepted the Assistant City Manager position at the city of Dickinson. This is a great opportunity for me to go back home and serve the community where I was born and raised. And I'm excited for the opportunity to do so. This decision was not made lightly. Having the conversation with Mayor Bell last month was one of the most difficult of my life because I care deeply for this community. I appreciate this city for accepting me and my family and trusting in me during this challenging time. I did my best. Since I was appointed the interim on July 2nd, I did my best to hold this city together and get through some very challenging times, which we are still facing even today. I believe we did some great things here. Many thanks to the hardworking and dedicated staff members we have. I appreciate all of you for your hard work and your dedication. I'm so grateful for this city. I'm thankful for the experience and the knowledge gained over the years. There are many people who I'm thankful for. We would be here all evening if I mentioned everyone by name. But I will mention the late Mac McGaffey, who passed away last week. We became good friends over the years, and I have much respect for the McGaffey family. We're praying for you, Mac, and your family, and I know you're here with us today. Mac loved this city more than most. I will miss these lifelong friendships made over the years. There are many special people that work and live here, and I will miss you all. I have nothing but respect for you, Mayor Bell, and this council, the staff, and most importantly, you, the citizens. I want the best for this community, and I believe this city will do great things and prosper. City of La Marque needs an experienced, strong-willed city manager to achieve these goals. I have to do what's best for my family. I want to thank my wife for dealing with putting up with me over these last couple of months to help this city. I love you and Carly more than life itself. My family and I have and will continue to pray for this community. The city of La Marque will hold a special place in my heart forever. God bless y'all and thank you. Mayor, I believe Chief Randall Aragon is here for a reason. I believe he was sent here, to obviously help the police department, but, he's a man that's been throughout this country. He's been an interim before. He knows how to hold things down and keep things moving forward. My recommendation would be to promote Chief Aragon as the interim for the time while Baker Tilly goes through their search and finds the right person permanently for the city.
Yes, sir. Council, thank you, Chase. And certainly we're going to give council a chance at the end of the meeting to share any expressions of gratitude toward Mr. Carey in our closing comments, give you a chance to digest what he just said to us today. But certainly thank you for that, Chase. And I'm sure the council will let you know how we feel about you and your time here as part of our family. Council, there has been a recommendation from the outgoing interim city manager that we ought to consider naming Chief Randall Aragon, who is our police chief, as interim city manager. But that does not necessarily mean that he is a person that we would name. We can move to nominate anybody that meets the qualifications of a city manager. And so at this time, I think that we ought to open it up for discussion or nominations. And so are there any persons that we would like to consider for this role as a council, whether it be Chief Aragon or any other person? I'm looking for a suggestion or a motion, however that comes from council.
I have a question, Mayor. if Mr. Aragon's gonna be the interim city manager, are we gonna step up? Or is he gonna hold both roles down?
Mr. Aragon, would you approach, please?
I want to just understand the dynamics.
Yeah, and I brought him here so that he can perhaps help us.
Councilor Carlson, answer your question, both roles. I can multitask very well, and I could do a good job. Chase kept us on board, on track, and I'll continue to do that. I know I can do that.
Okay, like I said, I just want to see what the dynamics are gonna.
Don't pay me,
Look like-
I don't need two pays.
You don't need to pay.
No, I'm gonna
So
save
we
you,
getting
a bunch-
it.
I'm gonna save you a bunch of money on the start. okay?
2 ads, 1
I told you
paycheck.
that. No, I don't want two pays, maybe, little.
Okay.
But as city interim city manager Chase said, I've served as mayor when mayor left town, and when it was a mayor government, there was no city manager. And I've been doing this 30 years in 6 states and about 8 cities, so I have a good idea on what needs to be done leadership wise. And I think it's important. I think leader is someone who's going someplace, persuade others to go with him. And I know how to do that. And Chase has been kind of giving me some coaxing and some additional training, and I can handle it too. I don't want to be the city manager. I don't have a problem. I've been asked to do that kind of, but my role is public safety, and I want to do that in the future. But I'll keep the ship afloat till we hire a competent person.
Okay,
Male or
appreciate it.
female.
Thanks, sir.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Chief Aragon? This is happening in real time. This is as transparent as the government will be. And we have no idea what we're gonna do right now. So
I do have a question.
go ahead.
Well, just for clarity purposes, for the record, what are the 2 roles? What's the other role?
Chief,
Huh?
chief of police and both interim city manager.
Chief of police. I didn't, and I for one, I don't know anything about that.
He has been named, he was named the chief of police October 20th. It was a press release done. As well, I saw the press release. And then I think that you sent a video out to all of the officers as well,
Correct.
right?
And I sent it out to the council too.
Yeah,
6 minute, 53-second.
October
video.
20th. Is that right, Chase? October 20th?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
I
That's
sent-
so cool, Joe, that you didn't know that, because that says that as council, we don't know, right? This is a council manager form of government, and it's up to Chase Carey to make these decisions. The city manager hires those
Right.
underneath that person's
Right.
supervision. And so it's cool that in real time, you shared with us that you didn't know, which means that we have no bearing on what happens with the city manager and his or her staff.
Well, it might be cool, Mr. Mayor, but I would have preferred that, and if you did, then it's my era, because I know I'm overwhelmed with emails. But if Chase did you send out an email to that effect, Chase?
No, I didn't send out an email. I don't believe after we had the discussion, Mayor and Chief. I can't even remember, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Well,
There was an email though, correct?
Yeah, there was an email.
There was an email and there was a video, yes.
Right, send the video out to the entire staff and city council and all, several department heads.
Yeah,
It's about a 7-minute video talking about my selection and some of my goals and objectives and some themes I want us to make sure we follow as police chief.
yeah. So it was in the atmosphere, Mayor Pro Tem, for quite some time. Any other questions for?
No, I've read the press release. I
Good.
saw. it.
You saw the press release?
And
Did
the
you?
video.
I have not, but I will take Chase's word on it that it was
Mm-hmm.
done. Okay, and I'm sorry, I have not seen the video.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you email that out to the entire staff?
My entire staff and
I know you emailed it to
council
city
members
council.
too. I think.
Yeah.
Robin, did you read it? She, yeah.
Okay. You got it, Robin? Okay. Okay. All the directors got it?
Gus
Okay.
got it too.
Okay, so everybody was alerted. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Try to resend that if you don't mind, just to make sure that everybody gets it.
I'll resend it out again.
Okay,
You want me to?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
just
will.
we can make sure for the record that it was sent.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions for Chief?
No, sir.
No, Mayor, when do we believe that a city manager will be permanently chosen? Do we know that yet?
We do not know that yet. I know that they are, they sent a status here recently, and the status was that 7 folks had applied at that point. And so I don't know where they are now, but I believe the email came, was it last week?
They give updates every Friday since
Oh.
they've opened it up to the, all the entities that they put the application and the notice out there that they were looking for.
Okay.
that They were looking
Yeah.
for. somebody.
Yeah. Okay.
But the deadline is coming up to where
So where
they're
they,
gonna stop, and then they're gonna give each one, the council, a chance to interview those.
do you happen to know what the deadline is offhand?
Off the top of my head. no.
Yeah, I don't
I'll-
either.
I'll let y'all know tomorrow.
I thought it was October 27th. Thought that was the deadline. Yeah, I think that's what I wrote in my notes. October 27th.
So in real time, we're getting ready to figure out how we go about our business to the next stage of this city's history. Council, do you have a recommendation or nomination? You don't have to make a recommendation. You can make a nomination if you like.
I recommend that we allow Randall Aragon to be our interim city manager until we can get a permanent one.
Okay. Does anybody have any issue with that? We're not voting yet. Any discussion about that?
No, no discussion on my part. I'm
Okay.
good with it.
Joe,
My only question is, were there any other candidates?
that's up to us.
Oh, But,
We are
but,
trying.
but, well, I'm not involved there in the daily stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking staff, were there any other candidates?
Did, as far as you know, did anyone else from internally or externally?
No, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Hearing none, then I suggest that that recommendation turn into a motion.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Any more discussion? Let me say this, Chief. What we are going to have to do is next Monday's meeting, we're going to have to work then as a council, because again, this is all happening in real time, on a salary package for you, because it sounds like you will be having dual roles for the next few months. And it sounds like you're not looking for dual salaries. So because all of this is new, like today, we don't have the information or the purview to discuss salaries with you. But what we will do is next Monday's meeting, we would be able to get a recommendation from Ms. Koo so that we can intelligently discuss with you what your salary would be for that interim period. Would that be okay with you? Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? The effective date, Chase, when is your last day?
November 5th.
November 5th. So this will become effective November 5th.
Mhm.
Any other?
And as part of the agreement, I'm sorry, is there, well, I guess you would be here continuing your service as the police chief. You would be available for the new permanent city manager when and if that occurs, and God permits us all to see those days, right?
Yes, sir. Precisely that. That was discussed with the mayor. I would help him or her get acclimated. That'd be my duty.
Right.
But I'm still going to be police chief, and I can handle both.
Okay.
Yes.
Good deal.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hearing no other discussion, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Well, congratulations, Chief Argon. You are the next interim city manager of this great city.
Mhm.
Certainly, we are going to pray that you get caught up to speed with Mr. Carey so that you can hit the ground running, moving into this next phase of our city's history. We support you. Yes, sir. Item 5B, discussion possible action regarding bringing Girls Softball Association into our city. Mr. Carlson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. During the summer, I was, and while Mr. McGaffey was still around, I was speaking with him when they're talking about doing the parks plan about using Mahan Park, bringing it up to standard, getting it into a better shape to bring in a possible softball team or a softball association or baseball association, getting those fields up and running. And so I talked with Miss DeVia about it, and I asked her if she would come before council and talk about the benefits of it, talk about the image that it would present to the outside community, the revenues that it could potentially generate, as well as given the teens and the youth of the city an opportunity to get involved in sports versus other activities. So if I could we bring her up?
Ms. DeVilla, please approach. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Pretty good, pretty good.
So most of y'all know me as the softball lady. My name is Rochelle Davila. I actually am a Lamarque resident. I live at 1814 Magnolia Drive. I am currently the Texas City Girls Youth Softball president, but like I stated, I am a Lamarque resident. Me and my husband, we bought a home here 4 years ago. I was raised in Brazoria County my whole life, so this was different for me. But from the moment we came here, both me and my husband have a very strong passion for helping kids and keeping them out of trouble. I played softball for many years. My daughter just wanted to follow in my footsteps. One thing led to another. Within months, I became president of the league. At that time, the league was on the verge of dying. It was bleeding dramatically. We only had 66 players. Today, we have over 236 players, including we started the new COA T-ball division. We are a league through USA Softball. That is a nationalized organization. And it has been a lot of our goals to try to restart Lamarque girls softball back up. What that could potentially look like for all parties, of course, is the youth. We're not talking just about girls either. Like we stated, started a COA T-ball division. So we have players anywhere from ages 3 to 14. Once they reach 14, they technically age out. But to try to keep that adolescent youth active and out of trouble, my husband started actually a junior coaching program 2 years ago. So a lot of those 15, 16-year-old girls that aged out that could no longer play in league, they are now coaching. And 2 of those girls is actually trying to get scholarships to college to be softball coaches.
Wow.
And at the same time, we also hire youth to work in our concessions. So ideally, the way I'm mentioning all of this is what could happen in Lamarque. Right now, our percentage of Lamarque residents that play for Texas City is 40%. If I added in the West Texas City addresses, it would be over 50%. We also have children playing from all over Galveston County. Specifically, my child's team has Galveston, Bayshore, Dickinson, Texas City, Lamarque. Just because it is Lamarque, would hopefully be Lamarque Girls Softball Association, that it's not just Lamarque residents, it's all the local youth. With the difference between USA Softball and Little League International, we're not restricted by our guidelines. So anybody in the county can play for any different league. With that, we've also done tournaments in the past. We held a World Series type called Gold Cup. That brought in teams from all over the country. We're talking Arkansas, Georgia, Oklahoma, that came for a 4-day weekend to play in Texas City. With that, that would also benefit the city with the hotels because they would rather stay local and not go to Galveston where it's more expensive. The hotels, fast food, grocery stores. And that would be the potential of what Lamarque could make. Like I stated, we started off with extremely low numbers and including extremely low bank account, to the point where me and my husband actually put out of our own pocket just so we could host a tournament and waited for the league to pay us back. But with a Gold Cup type of tournament, that literally brought in $9,000. And with things like that, that's how we're able to keep registration costs low, the bare minimum, because when we do tournaments or fundraisers, that's how we're able to maintain the league. But with all of that said, it's for me personally, it's about the youth, trying to grab them while they're young so they don't veer off in that wrong road direction. Whether they are 2 years old wanting to bump up and play t-ball a little early, or it's a 15-year-old who's just going down the wrong path and trying to help steer them.
Very good, very good. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Rochelle?
Thank you for being here,
Thank
because we
you.
definitely need it, especially at the softball level, at the high schools where they have suffered because of lack of league city.
Absolutely.
Little league program. So that would be a welcome addition back.
I spoke with Coach Tony just last year. She was
Mhm.
like, we need this back because the girls she's getting at the high
Right.
school
They've
have never played before.
Right.
And I'm like, well, don't just give it a couple of years. My daughter and all her little friends will all be there and we will be the #1 team.
Yeah,
Okay?
it makes a difference. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Now, I know Mayhem Park needs a lot of improvements, but our board has actually gone out there because the goal is to put more avenues for kids to keep them out of trouble. So my goal is not to close down Texas City, but my goal is to have both. Me not run both because I'm just one person. I can't do that. But eventually I would leave and just do Lamarque, but have these two huge avenues for the youth of both Texas City and Lamarque. But doing my research, talking with our state president, Lamarque Softball League used to be the biggest staple in the state. It would host state tournaments. It was just, I couldn't believe it when I did my research and he told me. And he was like, I guess you're going to keep pushing. I go, I will push until it starts back.
Very good.
Question.
Yeah.
Michael, what is it when you, what is it the meaning of bringing this association? What does that
Basically
mean?
start,
What is it
basically
that you're
starting the
looking?
association up over on this side, as well as, I mean, Texas Cities has theirs, but we can have our own and bring in those revenues and get the teen girls something to do.
So I understand that. I
Mhm.
understood, but
That's-
once again, I want some specificity, please. What does that mean? It says bringing it over is one thing, but what does that mean in terms of logistics? What are you asking from the city, if anything at all, other than you're free to come in and operate in the city, are you not?
No,
Right now, we currently do not practice in Lamarque.
She-
Yeah.
And for what reason?
Well, right now we are, through Texas City. The goal is, I went to the Parks Boards meeting and the Parks, their thing that they went to each park and talked with them about Mayhem Park. Because that was originally where girls softball was, but of course it's deteriorated over time and it needs some major improvements. Ideally, if girls softball was going to be back in Lamarque, it would be at Mayhem Park.
And so what the answer, and Carlson, obviously you just got here, and so let me help. The answer to that question is there needs to be a partnership created,
Yes.
because they're going to need to use our facilities, right? They're going to need to use our softball fields. And they're going to need to use practice fields that the city has, available to them. And so that's what that would be, Joe. It would be the city giving them permission to use our fields. There would be other negotiations with that.
Yes, like for example,
Right.
right now with Texas City, we have what's called an agreement, a memorandum. They do not charge us to use the fields. We are responsible when we have our agreement to maintain the fields. If there's anything wrong with the buildings, the city would do it. I'm just giving examples of what's in our current one
Right,
with
right,
Texas
right.
City. They do take care of lights. I know we do understand with the possibility of trying to restart Lamarque, that is going to be on the league's responsibility. So we do understand that, but there would be, for an example, an agreement or memorandum or some sort of contract between the league and the city stating, okay, here are the city's responsibilities. We're responsible for, once a year, redoing the fields, which would mean the city would be putting new dirt to level up the fields. The league's responsibility is the mowing, the maintaining, to make sure anything's clean. If something is broken, that is the city's responsibility to reach out to that city contact and let them know that there's an issue with the bathroom stall number 3. So it's something like that, it's not just a clog, it's something serious that our board members have tried to fix and unable to. When it comes to our board members, we will try to fix our issues first, but to cover everybody, there is normally an agreement or a contract stating who's responsible for what.
And so procedurally, seems to me procedurally, and to see if this makes sense, that, and you said that you touched upon it briefly, but you would get together your package, which would include a sample of the memorandum of understanding
Yes, of
that you have
course.
with Texas City.
Mhm.
And I would make sure that you get on as an agenda item, since I'm the city ex officio on the Parks Board,
Mhm.
and bring that then to the Parks Board and get their blessing, basically, right? Their support. It's
Yes,
exciting. And then if there's further action that would be required by the city, then they would bring it back to the
Yeah,
city. correct,
yeah,
Mayor?
yeah, we would have to, the council would have to ultimately take action on any proposed agreement.
And
Yes.
that might include then, if there's a recommendation by the Parks Board to financially in some fashion,
Yeah.
then whatever proposal.
get up to
based
standard
upon-
the fields,
Yeah,
yes.
well,
Correct.
and those responsibilities on that side. But I do know at the last Parks Board meeting, there was a healthy discussion with regard to making sure that our park system does bring back that component of youth involvement. So I do know there was a healthy discussion.
Mhm.
And that's why I'd asked her to come, because I want to get the youth involved, and I know the previous administrations didn't involve the Parks Board. And that's my action would be to recommend that she speak with the Parks Board and get them involved.
Yeah.
So that way she can get involved with the Parks Board. The Parks Board can work with her on getting this set up.
Certainly.
And then the Parks Board can come to us for whatever they need to make it happen.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe, I'm sorry.
And I'm prepared to pass on that recommendation
Okay.
to the Parks Board, working with you and Michael.
Venetia, you may know this, maybe you don't. Chase, you may know it, maybe you don't, but as far as we know, there are no plans for any recommendations to do anything differently with our softball fields as it relates to our master parks plan. You haven't heard them?
No, sir.
Okay, so it sounds like that our softball fields will survive any recommendations contrary to your ability to use those fields. And Mayor Pro Tem has suggested that he'd be willing to carry this to the Parks Board. So are there any other questions?
Just for clarity, you mentioned Mahan. I know there was some discussion at either the last meeting of the Parks Board or previous one with regard to making sure that Bobby Beach was a facility that was utilized, and perhaps there's some underusage there. And then most individuals here in the city don't recognize that we also have an agreement with Queen of Peace Church, and there's a large area, which it was intended originally, I think, right for softball. When it was first reached, I think it's been recently more soccer and
Possibly, yeah.
things of that nature.
Adult softball.
Yeah, adult. There was a softball, or we used to do Little League out there for a little while too. But if you don't know where that's at, that's right here at, it's called Lagana Park.
Mhm.
And that also is a facility that's there. It's part of the Parks Board system.
What would potentially Mayhem be used for is mainly for games. For example, fall ball, we play against all of Galveston County and we play Sundays. We play, before it gets dark. For spring ball, we play Monday through Thursdays during the week in the evenings, anywhere from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. And then, of course, there's any tournaments that any leagues try to host to fundraise or to maintain.
And are you looking for more than one field, or is it just
Oh,
one?
I mean,
How does
if
that
I'm
work out?
trying, to be frankly honest, if I'm trying to restart a league, I definitely, I see the potential for at least 3 fields, if not more. We currently have 4. And we have over 20 teams right now in Texas City. And we honestly, we can't even hold that where we're doubling up on practice fields for the kids in Texas City.
Because Mac McGaffrey Park also has
A field.
a field out there
Mhm.
as well too. Now, what improvements would have to be made and things of that nature? Once again, discussion with the Parks Board.
Yeah, of course.
And there are 3 parks, actually 4 currently at Mahan.
Mhm.
One of them will go away, the one by the football field with
Yes.
the wastewater treatment expansion.
Well, even when when they were doing the touring, and I even discussed with them looking at it, there's possibility even for more fields in the future to be built at Mayhem.
Yeah.
There is that, or even, yes, I'm biased to softball, but I want to help all kids, and not every kid's going to love softball or baseball. But even the possibility of a soccer field to
Yeah.
bring a soccer organization to the city of Lamarck.
Yeah.
My hope is, I guess I need to start playing the lottery, is to win the lottery and just spend millions of dollars on building a huge sports complex for all kids. That's just my goal.
I think that's all our hope is for you to win the lottery. Any other questions? So it sounds like what we need to do, council, is to make a give direction to the Parks Board to consider this request. Mayor Pro Tem is the ex officio member, so he'll carry this request to the Parks Board. And then we start there, and then we move back. I'm sorry, but come back to the council afterwards. So I'll entertain a motion to direct the Parks Board to engage with Ms. Rochelle on bringing Lamarck softball back to the city of Lamarck.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Also, in this motion, we are also directing our Mayor Pro Tem to make sure that's delivered to the Parks Board in the next meeting. Anything else?
Thank y'all.
Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5C. Discussion possible action regarding the overpayment of customers on their utility bills. Mr. Carlson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I know previously, a few months ago, we talked about it during the audit, the water audit, that citizens were overcharged. I didn't want it to fall by the wayside, so I wanted to bring it up and find out how much we owe the citizens, and if we have those numbers, and what we need to do and how quickly we can make it happen to get the citizens back the money that we owe them as a city. So that's why I put it on the agenda item.
Sure. Chase, you want to respond?
Yes, sir. Susie, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Can you speak to that, Susie?
Yes, sir. And I believe the last time we discussed this, it was at the presence of the auditors. We mentioned that it was not an error, it was a differences of interpretation. But we also needed legal opinion regarding that. As far as the process is concerned, if council wants us to pay the money to the citizens, whether it was a mistake or not, doesn't matter. We'll pay. We'll follow the instructions. But the process will not be a quick process because we have 7,000 accounts we have to review individually for 18 months, each month individually. Recently, the utility billing department has been understaffed, multiple employees being out sick due to COVID. One resigned. So, I cannot do this by myself alone. I definitely will need help from the utility billing department, their staff, but this is where we're at. And as far as the legal opinion, I'll refer that to this interim city attorney. I'm sorry, not interim anymore, but city attorney.
Utility billing supervisor had a medical family emergency, and she's not able to speak today. So she's looking into this as well as the progress.
Okay, well, I just know
They're
last
having
time
to
we
go
brought
through
this,
each account.
last time we talked about this, I thought we left it. They were gonna figure all those numbers out for
Yeah,
us.
and they're working on that.
Okay.
It's a tall task, tall order to do so.
Okay, but like I said, I don't want it to fall by the wayside because if the city owes them
Sure.
money,
Yeah, that's
it's
on
their
my
money.
To-do list. on the top.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want citizens to miss out.
Yeah.
Sure.
But auditors also mentioned that this is, they couldn't even come up with the numbers. If you recall, you asked them, they couldn't even come up with the numbers. That's because they realized the process is not as easy as 1, 2, and 3. You want something accurate, you're gonna need to look into it carefully and make sure that that's the exact dollar amount that they pay that's exceeding that the industry standards method. Okay, or we can just, make an artificial number and just pay the citizens back. Whatever you guys want us to do, we'll do it.
Yeah,
But
I don't want to make an artificial number. I want the
well,
exact
I
number.
don't either. But you want it quick, then, all we can do right now, if you want it quick, we can make up some artificial numbers.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want the exact number, because if the city owes the citizens, then we owe the citizens the exact numbers. So, I mean, that's the right thing to do.
Good, Jim.
Susie, this is Joe Campion.
Yes, sir.
The utility fund is a separate restricted fund, correct? That accurate?
Yeah, the utility fund is an enterprise fund. Yes, it's
It's one of our 5 revenue streams of the city, and it's restricted to activities dealing with the water and the utility.
utilities. Yes,
Uh,
sir.
And briefly, we get a negotiated rate for water from Gulf Coast Water Authority. We add on certain fees. We don't basically do a wholesale rate, but there's a little extra there when we get our water bill.
Yes, sir.
As I recall, this was first pointed out when we got the audit, and I pointed it out to you and the mayor both back in, what was it, Mayor? What was it, February? February or
It was
March,
sometime
somewhere.
in the
It was
spring,
early, or around that time period, when the audit, from the first draft of the audit came out. So,
I think it was in July, wasn't it?
oh, yeah, you're right.
It was in
July, yeah, July. You're right, correct. I stand corrected. An old man. So at that time, I think we were, when you and I met and we discussed this as well. And I share Mr. Carlson's concern that we don't let this go too far. And I'm looking for simplicity, actually. And I mentioned this to you at the first time, Mayor. I think I mentioned
Yes,
this
sir.
to you as well, simplicity. I know when I went over 4,000, because I pulled up my own expense, my water bill graph for the past 2 years. But I'm looking for simplicity. I'm looking for credibility from the city's part as well too, right? Not make a mountain out of a molehill sort of thing. And so I'll repeat my suggestion that I made at that time. We have a healthy amount in this utility fund. And for our residential customers that were part of our system up through July, when this was first noticed, up through July, not any new connections, but up through July, that there be a one-time adjustment in the billing of $10, period. And that's and it's out of our hair, period. That represents probably about $60,000 as an adjustment. And that was my suggestion then. It's still my suggestion. And then staff goes on. You heard all the staff time, the issues there, and that was my suggestion. I still urge it.
Can you refresh my memory? What was the total?
That was what the auditor had said, that they thought was the difference was around 60,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
they said that. It could be. They said it could be, right? And so that's what I said. I took a lower number. Theirs was 69,000 actually. I took a lower number of 60 and said, let's make a one-time adjustment to everybody's bill of $10, which came out to about 6,000 customers prior to the date there, that July date. And we move on. Staff gets to move on, and we get on to bigger and better things, and right with our new interim as well too. So it's not something he's inheriting. And we have the money within our utility fund to do that adjustment as well. And that was my suggestion, still is my suggestion.
And yes, sir. And I agree with you. I'm 100% agree with you. You come up with a method, and we can do it quickly that way, as long as the city attorney say, hey, it's legal to do that. I'm all for it.
And-
Whatever council wish, and it's reasonable and it's doable, I'm all for it. But I'm not gonna stand up here and promise you something that I can't deliver. I'm just, very realistic. If we want accuracy, every single penny, because not every tier there were differences. Only certain tiers there were differences. So there may not be a true payment to certain account. We have to look at the history one at a time, each month at a time, each account at a time. So you want accuracy, we're gonna need some time, more than 3 months. Okay, and I did mention that a while back. But if you want to come up with a method for simplicity and just do it across the board, as long as legal say it's okay, we'll do it. If it's doable, we'll do it. I'm open for ideas.
Well, Susie, the kink in the line is about to happen. We're getting ready to hear from Gus. So Gus is getting ready to tell us that none of this is legal.
Well, it's not that it's not legal. I just need to get with Susie and the bill specifically. Generally, there's a prohibition though on the state that comes from the state constitution on municipalities, what's called lending their credit to private citizens. So we're gonna need to dig deeper into that to see if this get some more information on the potential overbilling issue, and if it can be, and look at it in such a way as a potential settlement if that's the case. So I'm gonna need to get with Susie to find out those numbers, and I'll schedule a phone call with the auditors to get their thoughts as well on the exact on where they're coming from with the interpretation of the tiers.
Mr. Mayor, follow
Go
up.
ahead, Jeff.
I hope you do that very quickly, Gus. And I personally don't see a problem, but that's me, right? Make it simple. And I don't think it's a giving. It's an error that occurred on our side. But beyond that, I think there's a future discussion that we should have. Chase was very kind to start that discussion with one of our bigger homeowner associations out with regard to issues associated with our metering system, the loss of water that we have within our system. There's a whole other discussion here that really needs to occur in my mind. And I was prepared to go into that, but I'm going to defer on that, and let's bring that up at a separate time. But as I said, I would like to urge that we have a one-time adjustment. It doesn't even have to be the $10. It could be a lower amount, by the way. But so it averages out that way. We have a limited staff. Let them focus on what they do. More is customer service. Get back out and do customer service and build additional credibility to our folks.
One question I got to follow up to. Susie, none of your personnel have started checking those sheets, have they?
No, sir,
Okay.
because we haven't had a whole lot of personnel in the office.
Gotcha. Okay. I just didn't want to have their time wasted. So if they haven't started it, then may have to swallow my accurateness for a one-time settlement type deal. If it's
But
allowed.
I just want council to know that we did not forget about it. We're searching for the most logical and fair way to make it fair to all citizens who paid, and still not making them wait so long, the most efficient and effective way to deal with this. Okay,
Understand. Appreciate it. Thank,
so trying to reach a balance.
understand. Thank you.
Very good, Susie. Let's refresh everyone's memory so that we can all be on the same page. This was detected in a routine audit. Is that right, Susie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so the auditing firm did their job. Is that right, Susie?
Yes, sir.
And this was the way that the billing was set up. Is that still true, Susie?
The billing, the approach has been corrected since the auditors brought it to our attention. It is now done according to industry standard.
Right. So again, the auditors found this. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And when we learned about it, we immediately corrected it.
Right. I just want to make sure that all the correct information is in the atmosphere so that we all can know the same things. The auditing firm did exactly what they were supposed to do. And the city council heard that and the city staff adjusted immediately to that. So we're talking now about any overages, any payment overages that happened during that process. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page so that we don't all leave here with 50 different stories. This is the one story. So sounds like we are going to have to let Gus, ladies and gentlemen, let Gus work with the auditor and with Ms. Koo to find a pathway forward. Sounds like you're willing to wait for that part of it until you, so that you can get into the other discussion that you want to have.
Definitely.
Okay,
And we should be able to do that shortly. Shouldn't take long.
okay. Any other discussion on this?
Could I make a motion that, seeing as you said, if we table anything, that will trigger an automatic? Can we, I'd like to make a motion that we waive that for this item only
Okay,
until we can get that information in front of us.
okay.
Because, I mean, who knows how long it'll be before we get that information.
We'll get a report. Let's get a report by December's meeting.
We could probably even do November.
Oh, you can do next week?
For my part.
Okay.
For my part, I can do November.
Okay. Let's shoot for a report for the November meeting, which is next week. And if in fact somehow that's delayed, then we'll definitely have that report on the December agenda. That way we can take action. It makes sense, guys?
I will be at the HCAC meeting
For November?
for that meeting, but if that could be noticed just
Yeah.
beforehand and I can leave my
Yeah,
comments.
we'll make sure that somebody visits with you and then you can email your thoughts and we can read them into the record or however you want to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Doesn't sound like we need an action, Carlson.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Now we're at item 6, executive session. The city council of the city of Lamarck, Texas reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during the course of this meeting to discuss any matters listed above as authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberations about real property, 551.073, deliberations about gifts and donations, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, deliberations about security devices, and 551.086, economic development. Today, we will visit in executive session according to section 551.071, consultation with attorney regarding potential legal action against Charles Tink Jackson. Are we ready? Our regular scheduled meeting is ending at what time? 5:58. 5:58. We will enter executive session at this time. Hello. We are back into our regular session at 6:56. Is that right, Robin? Healthy discussion in the back. And so I will entertain a motion at this time.
I move that we table the legal action that we are considering against Charles T. Jackson.
Table it until next
Next meeting,
meeting. Are you
next meeting in December.
the regularly scheduled meeting in December? So any legal action that we are proposing to take against Tink Jackson will be tabled until the first regular meeting in December. Very good. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's see. Item 8, request and announcements from council. Mr. Carlson.
Thoughts and prayers go out to Mac's family. It's a big loss for the community. It's a big loss for the city and all those that know him. Also, just for the record, after next Monday's meeting, I'll be out of the net for that week. So I'll be here for the meeting, but then the rest of the week I'll be out of state.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Ms. Yancey?
Ditto for Mac. I got a chance to meet Mac when I was a teacher here in Lamarck, and he was always very motivational and always had something amazing to encourage me as a teacher and entrepreneur. So I was saddened to hear about his death, and I'm praying for his family and his children. Another note, I will be having a Town Hall District A meeting November 10th, which will be next Wednesday at Lamarck High School, as we will begin to talk about what we have accomplished in the first 100 days in office. We'll also have a community resource fair. I'm really excited about that. We'll have TWC, Amazon will be there. We'll have some other items as well, as we try to equip and empower our community to make Lamarck the best place, the land of possibilities that she can be. So we are going forward, Mr. Mayor, and trying to do things that are healthy and positive for the people of Lamarck. It's important to me that we make sure that we do the best that we can, in spite of people who love to dance in negativity. And so we are going forward as a city. I'm really excited about November 10th. It'll be there at the high school from 6:30 p.m. to about 8:30 p.m. And we will take questions from residents of District A, and we will definitely hear your concerns. I'm really excited about Mr. Aragon's safety initiative. That was a lot of good information as we try to light up Lamarck and make Lamarck one of the safest cities in the state. To my friend Chase, I will miss you. You are an incredible young man. I pray that you have learned from this time. You did let us know that it may be temporary, but you know, I'm an original Gator, so I understand about going home and having fun, right? So I definitely be praying for you, and thank you so much for you remained positive the entire time.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
spite of what people try to do. You know, you find out who you really are in times of challenges. And
Yes, ma'am.
so whatever I can do, my church is in Dickinson, so I
Yes,
look
ma'am.
forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
And I just want to tell your wife, thank you for riding this boat with you. But I'm very proud of you, and
you
I'm
so
proud
much.
to call you my friend.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck.
Thank you.
The first, once again, to Mac and his family on this day, All Souls Day, or for others, Dia de los Muertos. My blessings to his family, and he has always been a diligent, high energy sort of individual for our community. And sick or in great health, he was always there to do something. I remember even while he was hospitalized here this recent time, he was getting messages to me via some folks on the Parks Board. So I want to have that sort of spirit on my way out, right? Almost to say, come on in. This is a good. So that's number one. Number two, and Chase, my congratulations. In the short period of time that I have come to know you, you're a person of integrity, once again, with great diligence. You're once again another high energy person. You can see that all the time. You've got it's there, and you're certainly a person committed to what both to standards of conduct, which I think are missing in public officials, whether they be either elected or staff paid. Standards of conduct, we all have that. And number one, you've always treated people, in my belief, of what I've seen you, the way you want to be treated.
Yes, sir.
And that's something that I try to do in my, and so I wish you good luck. I wish your family best of luck as you adjust to your new job in Dickinson. I'm not necessarily pleased with that, but continue your growth. And that's what I'm saying. Once again, congratulations and blessings.
Thank you, sir.
For the record, I won't be attending next Monday's meeting because of a Houston Galveston Area Council meeting that I will be attending on the north side of Houston. And then I will be gone for approximately 7 days or so. But I'm available by text or email or if necessary by Zoom, but I will be available and accessible on that side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Certainly today is a sad day in our city. Louis McGaffey was a true public servant. Tonight when we leave, I will go and I'll attend with Chief Argonne a visitation at the funeral home, and to encourage his family and to certainly make it known that our city owes the McGaffey family a debt of gratitude. Hence the black shirt that I'm wearing, to be respectful and to be as a sign of mourning. They don't make public servants like Mac McGaffey anymore. Mac meant what he said. Mac was not a liar. Mac was not a person that attempted to undermine our government. Mac was not a person that ever in any way, shape, or form disrespected this city in any capacity. Mac was always a person who did everything in his power to move this city forward, a man of integrity. And we're gonna miss him because they don't make him like that anymore. Whether you were with Mac or whether you were against Mac, you always knew where you stood with Mac. And at the end of the day, you always received a handshake from Mac because that's just the type of man he was. And that's what men do, right? Men fight the good fight. And at the end of the battle, they shake hands and they pick each other up. They don't seek to damage or destroy. So I'm going to miss him because, again, Pennington family, they don't make them like Mac anymore. Chase, my friend, you have given this city everything that you had. You are a bright young man with an incredible future. I am excited to see what your life and what your career, how it will unfold. And I'll be there cheering you on, wherever you are, wherever you go, in Dickinson and beyond. I just know that whatever city that you work for, and those lives that you touch will be better because of your presence. And I'm proud of you because you stepped in when this city needed you to. And you took a lot of hits for that. You got beat up behind it. But again, the type of man you are lets me know that your future's bright. And I thank you for everything that you did for our city, from the time that you set foot in this city, even through to right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Chief Argon, my friend, you and I have been through many wars, and certainly we'll go through many more together. And I would not want to have any other person with me in this great time in our city than you. I believe in you. I know you're tough as nails. I know that you will not let anything deter your path. And you and I have one goal in common. We will make this city the safest city in Texas, regardless of anything else anyone else may say about it. We will make this city the safest city in this state. Promise you that. Anything else? Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I neglected, not intentionally, but I want to express, and I think on behalf of all of the city, our sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Charlie Wordlow, who's a valued staff member.
Absolutely.
At the at our treatment plant over the loss of his son. And I know that that's parents never expect to precede the death of their children. And so I know that's a heavy loss for him. So our blessings and condolences to his family.
I would also like to say real quick too, I know my experience with Colleen with the Keep Lamarck Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And her last week, I really enjoyed, I got a chance to really get to know her there on as a commissioner for Keep Lamarck Beautiful. And I am just amazed by her love for Lamarck. She has left a legacy here of excellence in the area of public relations. And so we are definitely in a period of transition, but those are going to be some big shoes to fill in the area of communication. So Colleen, thank you so much. If you're listening, thank you for your service, your time, and just being a classy young lady as you led. Thanks so much.
Mr. Mayor, I'm in denial. Chase, I forgot to mention you. I'm in denial. It's 5 stages. I first met you when you were an interim and I was an interim. So I've watched you for 3 years now, 4 years. And I appreciate the way that you've grown. And I know this wasn't tough. This wasn't easy for you. It was tough for you and your family because I've been in that boat too. So thank you for your time, your service, and your family also as well.
Yes,
and to Colleen too. She's done great work for us. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Martin, excuse me. Colleen Martin is a tremendous worker. Thank you, Ms. Yancey, for bringing her up. A tremendous worker for our Economic Development Corporation. And we're gonna miss her too. I hate to see her go. We didn't have, I wish we could have, as a council, have said stay, but Chief Argon, she doesn't work for us. I know a lot of people don't realize that. She actually works for EDC. But I wanted to say stay, but I don't know if it would have worked. But thank you, Colleen, for everything that you've done for our city. And for all that you've done to help us communicate with our constituency, doing things for this city that you shouldn't have had to do. Now, I did forget to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a new phone. And it's my new phone, and it's a city phone. So let me give you my number, 409-257-6259, so that all city business can be conducted over our city phones, so that we can make sure that we are capturing all of our city information. It's a great day in Lamarque, a great time in Lamarque. This city is moving forward regardless of whatever distractions, whatever resistance, regardless of whatever issues we may face. This city will be better for it. There will be nothing or no one that will stop the progress of this city as we move forward. And I'm glad about that. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. In fact, it already is happening. And I'm excited about it. And as you can see, there's a smile on my face because I realize today that Lamarque's future is brighter than it's ever been. And we're going to do some great things together. You watch it. We're done. I encourage you, if you can make it before 8 o'clock, to go and pay your respects to Louis McGaffey. I believe he is laying at Crowder on Texas Avenue. Certainly, I'm gonna leave here and I'm gonna go there, myself and Chief Argon, and we're gonna pay our respects. And I would ask the rest of us to, if we are able to step in, pay our respects to that family for the services of that great human being. There's nothing further. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.